Melanie, welcome to studio.
Thank you for having me.
Can we go back a bit and tell us where the inspiration behind Lionesses of Africa came from?
Well, it all started about a year to 18 months ago when I started doing some research for a book that I was writing on women entrepreneurs in Africa and this whole movement around how women entrepreneurs are helping to change the face of business and industry in certain parts of the continent. And it was a really interesting topic. And the more I started to meet with individual women entrepreneurs who were successful, who were running multi-billion-dollar companies and establishing well-known brands across the continent, the more the conversations turned to, well, a book is a great idea, but it only features so many incredible women that are doing amazing things and have great stories to tell. What about the rest?
Entrepreneurship has been touted as one of the keys to creating sustainable growth and employment on the continent, but it's also come with challenges, especially for women. How does your online platform help eradicate or lessen some of those challenges?
Look at Julia Namala, for example, in Uganda, who's built one of the most incredible fruit processing brands across Africa. She's a great success story. And to be able to share her experiences and look to see how she's overcome every obstacle in her life, both in business and on a personal level, to be able to create a business that is a role model for others to follow and connect her with that story with all of those other women entrepreneurs is a very powerful thing. And if we do that country by country and tell hundreds and thousands of these stories to inspire other women, they then understand how better to address their own challenges when they're on their own personal entrepreneurial journey.
How receptive have women entrepreneurs been to using the online platform?
I've been really impressed by women who are trying to facilitate discussion and debate about women's entrepreneurship in Africa and stimulating investment coming in from different parts of the world to Africa to support women's entrepreneurship. They've been so interested to hear about what we're doing with Lionesses of Africa, to say, how can we help? How can we collaborate? How can we help to share stories? How can we help to connect you with people that can help to share those stories? How can we support what you're doing on the platform, maybe through advice or mentoring or just raising the profile of what these women are doing to a global audience?
What are some of the success stories? You mentioned earlier on collaboration between African and or some European countries.
We had a particular retail outlet in Europe, in Austria. That retail outlet specializes in promoting the craft work of high-end women designers in Africa, and we've been able to connect them. So we're potentially opening up an opportunity for all of those women designers to showcase their work to a European audience. And we're doing the same thing in America. We're doing the same thing in other parts of the world where we've had interest from retailers, from agents, you name it.
Which sectors have you seen that our women are participating more in? It's design and craft. Is there any other sectors that we're seeing?
We are really impressed by some really innovative and passionate women entrepreneurs in the tech sector. And fortunately, we have some really big names in this part of the world, in Africa, that are doing incredible things in IT. If you look at Ethel Kofi, for example, who is a passionate supporter for women in tech. If you look at how those organizations that are being founded in places like the States, like Black Girls Who Code, that are promoting opportunities for young Black African women to be able to learn coding, which is probably one of the most sought after skills right now globally. So
I'm sure there's some stories which stand out for you.
There are so many, and I think that's the wonderful thing about the power of storytelling. If you tell this story of an amazing woman entrepreneur like Victoria Kasyombe, who started out in her family environment, her husband unfortunately and tragically passed away. The culture of that environment meant that she was left with nothing apart from a cow that she owned in her own right. She sold the milk that the cow produced every day. And that gave her a very small amount of income that she saved until she had enough money to be able to start a small entrepreneurial business of her own. And she started a company that is now one of the most successful microfinancing institutions in Africa, called Selfina, named after Sero, her cow, that was her saving grace in the early days. And she now provides microfinancing specifically to women entrepreneurs. See, another great story comes to mind of there's a sustainability story in Uganda. They have a huge problem with weeds clogging the waterways, meaning that communities have no access to water. They have no access to all of the basic resources that they need. And they're being clogged by these beautiful looking but terribly destructive weeds. One young woman entrepreneur looked at this situation and said, how do we solve it? And she created a company called Mitimeth, which actually uses those weeds, transforms them into a woven substance that then employs hundreds of other micro women entrepreneurs in the community to create very high-end accessories, bags, baskets for the US market. So she's not just turning an environmental solution into an entrepreneurial opportunity, but she's creating an entire new generation of micro entrepreneurs in her country.
We certainly look forward to seeing some of those great initiatives. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed.